Hey folks, I'm Jaden at Fanatik Bike Co, and today we're going to take the Devinci Spartan out to the trails. Now some of you may know this latest enduro bike from Devinci is available in a couple different flavors. This is the aluminum bike here that I'll be taking to the test, and Ryan's going to be ripping the carbon model in this film.
Hey everybody, I'm Ryan. This is my personal Spartan, and I chose this bike for a few different reasons, but mainly because the travel and the geometry offer a pretty confidence-inspiring platform. And since I spend all my money on silly grown-up things, I got to do the one bike thing, and Spartan's pretty tough to beat for the one bike quiver.
So what are the main differences between these two bikes? Well, the first obvious difference is frame material, as we already discussed. The carbon bike is going to be about a pound lighter in the frame, so if you're looking to build up, the lightest Spartan possible, carbon will probably be the best way to go for you. The aluminum model is built right at home in Devinci's factory in Chicoutimi, Quebec. Devinci is one of the few bike companies still producing aluminum frames in-house, so it's always good to hear. Other than that, geometry is going to be identical between these two bikes, so frame sizing and fit will pretty much be the same.
Enough talking.
Yep.
Show them what they want to see.
Alright, let's do this.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Catch my breath here for a sec. Alright. So, I've had the chance to ride this bike a couple of times at Interbike in Bootleg Canyon, but this is the first time I've really had the chance to give it a proper test on our home turf. And I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. First thing I notice is just how bottomless this bike feels in its travel. It's definitely some Dave Weigel magic going on with that split pivot suspension. I'd say at this point it's probably my top 3 favorite suspension platforms out there.
Totally. It's a very supple ride, and there's definitely enough there to soak up the big hits, but it also maintains itself through chatter real well too, where some bikes might slow down. This bike will pick up speed, and it actually, such a big bike, it climbs pretty well with 165 mils of travel.
Yeah, I agree. I fully expected to be working a bit harder on the climbs, but in all honesty, it's pretty darn good. For a bike that can be ripped all day in a bike park, I'm perfectly satisfied with the climbing performance. Anyways, Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit about your build?
So I started off with the stock SX kit and added a few bits to shave some weight. Got the race face carbon bar and crank, and I got Easton Haven wheel set, and Magic Mary in the front and a Butcher in the rear. Yeah, it's pretty dialed.
That comes in at what, 29 pounds? Is that where you're at?
28.9.
Ooh, 28.9. Nice.
But if you really want to get after it, you could probably shave a little bit off.
Sweet. And right here I'm sitting on the stock kind of base level kit for the Spartan, the Alloy Spartan. This is a Spartan XP. And the bike as it sits here comes in at $38.99, which is pretty darn good bang for your buck for what you get. It's a Pike RC fork. We got a SRAM drivetrain, reverb dropper post even, Hans Dampf tires front and rear, and it even comes with the top end Monarch RC3 debonair rear shock, which is awesome. That's one of the most important parts of the bike, so Devinci did not skimp there. This build comes in at about 33 pounds. Not quite as light as Ryan's fancy carbon bike, but again, you know, if you don't have a huge budget, this is a great place to start. Anyhow, let's chat a little bit about the geometry on this bike.
Overall, it's pretty dialed. As with any Devinci bike, you can change the geometry with their flip chip system. I've got mine in the low and slack, which puts it just under a 66-degree head angle. The bottom bracket's down at 13.25, and it's kind of how I like my bike, slack and low.
Yeah, I agree. Low and slack. Lower and slack are the better, really. Keeps the bike comfortable on the steeps, and you know, you do detract a little from the climbing performance, but given the nature of this bike, the geometry is pretty spot on.
So what'd you think about the 27.5 wheels?
That's great. The Spartan does an excellent job utilizing this wheel size. I've been on 27.5 bikes for a couple of years now, so I have a pretty good idea of what I like and what I don't like in 27.5 bikes. In my book, it shouldn't really feel like you're riding a bigger wheel size. The bike should just kind of feel right, and that's exactly the case with the Spartan. Devinci did an excellent job designing this bike from the ground up for 27.5 wheels. It's definitely not a 26-inch bike with 27.5-inch wheels bolted on as an afterthought. It's really spot on as far as this wheel size goes, and I mean, in all honesty, I wouldn't want to ride this bike in any other wheel size.
So this is my second 27.5 bike. It's definitely the most aggressive one I've ridden. I thought it was going to be a little slower on the climbs, but it held up speed, and it definitely soaks up chatter. And I thought I might lose a little bit of playfulness, but jumping and flinging it around, I mean, it's poppy and snappy, and it's great.
Yeah, I noticed the bike was very playful overall too. I didn't really have any trouble getting used to it off jumps or, you know, whipping it around. Feels really solid. This bike would be awesome, you know, ripping up a bike park all day long. It's also generated pretty positive results at the Enduro World Series, so if you're into the Enduro scene, this bike should definitely hold its own.
Alright, well, I think that's about it for the Spartan. Think this might be your next bike, give us a call or swing by the website and we'd be happy to build one up for you.
Alright.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.